Hey, this is Dave with Level Up Woodworking, and today it's lighting and dust collection. Probably the two most important things you'll need to learn something about in building your shop. Let's get started. Except this time. I learned a lot in researching on lighting and dust collection before I built this shop out. The first thing I learned is do it empty. It's a lot easier. The second thing, well, you'll see here in a minute. I started with lighting, then I did the dust collection, and then I moved everything in. Before I selected my lighting solution, I did an enormous amount of research. I looked at every workshop solution I could possibly find. I looked at just about everything that people put on YouTube for lighting solutions. But I think one of the best sources of information that I found about lighting was an article from the Illumination Engineering Society. And I'll put a link to this in the description below. I think this kind of really helped me decide what it is that I want for my shop. And they recommended anywhere from 50 lumens for a warehouse environment up to 300 lumens for a task-based workshop kind of environment. In addition to lumens, they did look at a couple other factors. One was a CRI, which is the color rendering index, and they thought 80 to 90 was a good range for good quality light. The other thing they looked at was Kelvin. And they said fluorescent lights was about 4,000 to 5,000. You want to do better than that. All the research, I picked a set of lights called Shop LED. Bought them on Amazon, about $150 for 12 4-foot strips. That gives me a very even distribution of light throughout the workshop, which is really important. These lights have 6,000 Kelvin and a CRI index of 82, which is not bad. They have 5850 lumens per 4-foot strip. And figuring out the math for my shop, that gives me a little bit over 300 lumens per square foot, which is exactly what I want. So once you figure out that recommendation away from the walls, now we need to figure out distance between the lights. And the recommendation is 1.5 times the length of the light. In this case, that's 6 feet. I'm going to be a lot closer than that. That's not a problem. But if I went further than that, I would get uneven distribution of light onto the workspace that I'm dealing with. So I use the same straight edge that I used to make all my measurements with. Once I've made the measurements, I just put it up there as a straight edge for the lights so I can put the holes in, put the brackets on, and for the most part it's turned out pretty good. Got a few adjustments I've had to make, but not too bad. And I want to be a little delicate with these because they are somewhat fragile. There you go. And once you get it up there, it's not going anywhere. It's pretty solid. So I've made myself a little measuring stick for the lights. So I know where the studs are based on this little plan that I drew up with the dimensions before they put the drywall up. And so I know exactly where to put the screws with the brackets for each light. The thing that I've got to work on now is this unsightly cable. And I've got a plan for that. It's a pretty simple plan. So here's the before and after. When I turn the lights on, I think it makes a significant difference in the shop. Of course, this is during the day, but I think it's going to turn out really good. Well, now that the lighting's done, I can move on to the dust collection. And before I lay all this dust collection and put these brackets up, I need a plan. With the lighting, I want a consistent lighting across the entire shop, and that's what I got. With dust collection, I want very specific, pinpointed dust collection in the right place. Now, I got this dust collection pipe and the stuff that I have in the other shop for my garage for 60 bucks. Now, before I hang up any of this dust collection pipe, I really probably want to go through the most important thing, especially for a small shop, and that's workflow and layout. Those are the two most important things to make this shop as efficient and productive as I possibly can in this small space. So let's take a look at that. Now, before you do dust collection, you got to know where your tools are going. So I went through a very laborious process to try to figure that out. I set up my workstations into receiving and breaking down work, detailed work, sanding, finishing, and assembly. So I had 3 different categories to put tools in. Then I laid my tools out into those 3 categories. Things like safety and dust collection go across all 3. But table saws, miter saws, band saws, those kind of things are kind of focused on breaking down wood and some detailed work. So I kind of laid that out based on that. And then I started putting things together with some of the smaller tools, things like glue, rags, gloves, that kind of thing, and where those would go. And based on that, I finally set up a layout for my new shop. And I think this is the layout that I'm going to stick with as I put everything together. But I need this before I can start my dust collection process. Well, I didn't like the way the bracket sat, so I wanted to level the bracket out a little bit more. So I drilled a slightly larger hole on this side than this side, so this end would sit down a little more. So I finally got the dust collector up here. Sorry you didn't get a chance to see me put it up there. It was quite a challenge. I had to put it up, take it down probably 10 times. I had some problems with the bolts and the thickness of the board. And then I had problems with a bolt interfering with the dust collection vent. And so I had to cut the bolt off, as you saw. But it's there now. I've got it right in front of this plug, so it's plugged in. I think it's going to work great. Just need to put a bag on it and run some pipe. I've designed a very simple bracket here to hold the dust collection pipe in the new shop. And this is a very simple design. You've seen these across YouTube. And I kind of bored you with the details of cutting all the pieces so you didn't have to deal with that. I'm using a couple of pieces of 1/4-inch plywood and 2x4s, and I just planed the 2x4s so I can get a consistent thickness and then cut them out into the shapes that I wanted, and kind of planned out how many of these I need to build, and I'm building 8 today, and this is what the final product looks like. And the pipe fits in here, sits right down there, and this will tuck up against the ceiling and against the wall, and I'll put one long screw right through here, the 2x4, into the ceiling joist. So I think it'll work really well. I'm going to paint it to match the ceiling and the wall so it kind of blends in, and all you want to be able to see is just the dust collection pipe. So let's go ahead and build a couple of these so you can see what it's like. Now that I've installed my dust collector and built all my brackets, I'm ready to install all the piping. And I got all of this piping off a guy on Craigslist for almost nothing. I think I spent 60 bucks. He just wanted to get it out of his garage. I loaded it in my pickup and brought it home. I did have to buy a few attachment pieces like 45s and so forth, but really not too much. And I ended up installing the brackets first on a particular wall, and then I would build that whole piece and put it up.
and then I put 3 screws in each connection, as well as metal tape to seal it well. You do not want to have any leaks on a dust collector. So I ended up doing 3 different sections. I have 5 downspouts that I can attach hoses to around the shop, so I can access dust collection from just about anywhere in the shop. Very happy with the brackets, the way they turned out. I like the fact that they hold the pipe well and they keep it up in the corners, so it doesn't take a lot of wall space, because I want that wall space for other things. The brackets for the downspouts also turned out well. They're very simple to build, but I want to make sure I hold those securely as I'm attaching and unattaching hoses, which I don't expect to do too often. With 5 of those, there's only a couple of them where I'll need to make changes from time to time from one tool to the next. All in all, I'm very happy with the layout of the dust collection, and I think it'll be a good solution for me, and it really helps to eliminate floor space issues, so I can use that for other things. Well, I can't believe it. It's finally done. I've got all the lighting and dust collection done, and I'm ready to move in, and I'll give you a tour of that here in a second. I think the nice thing about this shop is the white walls really help brighten it up. So even without lights, it's pretty bright. When I turn the lights on, you can see it makes a huge difference, and I think these lights are going to work out great. I've got 10 total lights installed, and you can see I have cords in between the lights, and I actually fed those through PVC pipe just to clean it up. And I've got that plug there. It's probably not that exciting, but tried to tie that up. And the PVC solution I think works out really good. It makes this a really clean solution, and very happy with it. Now these lights get covered up by the garage door when it's open, but the thing is, I get a lot of light from, natural light from outside when that's open, so it's not that big of a deal. When I close the garage door, these lights are available and give me quite a bit of lighting. So very happy with the way that turned out. You can hear a little more of an echo in this room with that door closed, but that's okay. I installed my 240 volt heater here, which easily heats this entire room, and a fan for the summertime when I need to cool off. It's a 3-speed industrial fan. I think it's going to work out really great for the shop. Now with dust collection, a couple of things I want to point out. I've got my hanging dust collector here, and I'm going to do some work in the future to put a bin down here instead of a bag for dust collection. And then I've got all my piping in place, and all these brackets right here I designed and built myself. Very simple, easy to do. Even once for the 4-inch I did a bracket for. And then I also did a bracket here and on all the downspouts so that you could hold these in place, and they're nice and tight, and I'm very happy with the way those turned out. So everything is fixtured in place. The brackets are screwed into the ceiling, but the pipe is just laying in there, which is really kind of a nice solution, I think. And a couple other things I want to point out is routing. Now you can see this right here. This is absolutely something that you do not want to do. That's more than a 90-degree turn for this piece that comes through. And it's just something you don't want to do. Now I've tested the dust collection. I have good collection on that end, which comes over here and down. But I've got that one turn that makes it kind of difficult. You can see here I put 45s in, and I put 45s in here. Got another one here I put 45s in, and in the back corner there it's a little hard to see, but there's two 45s, so it's not a straight 90-degree turn. And then over here I wanted to show you this one. Here is a 90-degree turn on the 45-inch or on the 4-inch pipe. And again, that is something that you do not want to do, but I wanted to put it up there to show you. And I do have a 45 here that I'm going to add to this, so I'm going to put two 45s in place to make that a little bit better and hopefully get me a little more power here in this corner. So the shop at this point is done. I'm very happy with it. I'm excited to move things in. If you like what you see today, I would appreciate it if you hit like. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you subscribe. You'll get notified of the next video coming up, which is my move-in video. And I'm very excited to show everybody how I place all my tools in this shop.